Hello everyone. So today we are going to learn the chapter. The name of the chapter is Glimpses of the Past. Glimpses means view of the past. Written by S.D. Sawant. So students, as we all know that we got our independence on 15th of August 1947. On this particular day, you can see in the school also we are having a lot of celebrations regarding 15th of August. On the day, we used to pay tribute, we used to pay homage to the freedom fighters who sacrificed their lives, who laid their lives for the motherland. On this day, we are having a lot of celebration in the school, and we used to remind our freedom fighters, recall their struggle, how they fought with the British and how they brought us freedom. So here in this chapter, you can see it is a pictorial representation of the chapter. As we go through the chapter, we can see we are having 9 sequences out there. Here you can see some of the pictures of freedom fighters in the first slide. Maybe some of you can recognize it also. The first one is Mangal Pandey, and here next to him is Rani Lakshmi Bai. So in this chapter we will learn that how the situation had happened or occurred that led to the revolt of 1857. Who are the freedom fighters who fought in this particular revolt, and what are the circumstances that led to the revolt of 1857. Moving to the next slide, that is our objectives. We are having some objectives out here about this chapter. So the first one is to enable the students to understand the British reign in India. Reign means the period of rule, for how long the Britishers they rule our country. Learners get the knowledge about some freedom fighters from the given test. You will see in the chapters we'll come across with lot of new freedom fighters, lot of new leaders. Maybe you have not recognized those leaders, not able to know the name of the leaders. So in this chapter you'll have some new not new, you can say, the leaders we are not generalized with. To enable the students to write the events in order. Next is the learners get the knowledge to narrate the events in chronological order. When we are writing those sequences, we have to write the events in chronological order. Means date wise we have to write the events. And the last one is the learners feel the love and respect for the country and patriots. As we will read in the chapter that how the freedom fighters have the passion for their country. They are very passionate about the country. They love their country very much. They respect their country. They respect their native countrymen also. And they didn't bother about the lives out there. They always think about the country, how they can free their country with the Britishers. So, moving to the next slide, the first one is the martyrs. So here you can see in this picture, we are having some of the leaders out here, especially these 3 who are sitting next to one of the famous singer, that is Lata Mangeshkar, who is standing out there and singing one song. That song is very famous. On 15th of August particularly, that particular day we used to sing that song, maybe in the school also, maybe at other places also. That song is quite famous, and the lyrics of the song is "Ae mere watan ke logo, zara aankh mein bhar lo pani." That is quite famous song, and that songs remind us about what? About our freedom fighters, how they have sacrificed their life for the motherland. So we have to recall all those freedom fighters, the prominent leaders who fought for us and brought us freedom. Here we can see 3 of the prime ministers are there, former prime minister. The first one is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Next to him is Lal Bahadur Shastri, and next to him is Indira Gandhi. And below that went some of the freedom fighters of 1857. You can see, and some of the leaders maybe you know also. Like here Subhash Chandra Bose is there, Bhagat Singh is there, then Lal Lajpat Rai is there, Mahatma Gandhi is there, Rani Lakshmibai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and in middle you can see Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our former Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister of India. So here at the function in Delhi, Lata Mangeshkar sang patriotic song, "Ae Mere Watan Ke Logo." Oh my dear countrymen, let your eyes fill your tears. She called upon the Indians to recall with tearful eyes the sacrifice of Indian freedom fighters. Means we have to recall the sacrifices that have been made by our freedom fighters. We don't have to forget their sacrifices. We have to remember every time that how they didn't bother about their life, but they bother about the country. They want to free the country from the Britishers. The martyrs are remembered every now and then. They laid their lives for the sake of the nation. Who are martyrs? Martyrs are those people, the native people who used to lay their lives for their country. They are very patriotic, very passionate about the country. They respect the country very much, and they can go to any extreme for achieving anything for their country. It means they can do anything for their country. Now, next slide is the company's conquest in 1757 to 1849. So here, the English East India Company came to India for trade. So when the East India Company came in 1600 AD, the main purpose is trade. They didn't have any kind of say in the governance, you can say, but gradually they have the diplomacy, that is a weapon, as you can say, diplomacy, how to influence the people, how to influence the king, the emperor, the rulers of the India, and how they can sneak into the territory, or how can they take the power from the king, from the emperor, and how they can impose their laws in that particular area. Now here, but with its superior weapons of diplomacy, they extended its power in the 18th century. Indian princes were divided and short-sighted. During that time, what happened? The kings or the emperor, they used to have some kind of enmity with the other neighboring kings or emperors or the princes. They have the continuous fight between them, and they are always busy. The constant fights were always going on. So what happened? The one princess, not one princess, you can see that some of the princes, they took help from the Britishers to defeat other rulers. Okay, they can defeat the other rulers, so they can get that province also, that area also. But what happened? Gradually, the Britishers, now they became the master, or you can say they become the supreme power. Now they are having the authority to do anything, because these Indian princes, they were very short-sighted. They are having a very short-term goal. They just think about the future. They are not far-sighted. They are not thinking about the future. What will happen if you are giving the power to the Britishers? We are seeking the help from the Britishers. Ultimately, they will take the power from them, and they are not able to do anything without Britishers. They sought the help of the English merchants to defeat each other, and they seek the help from the Britishers, and now they are defeating their own countrymen, and they are getting the enmity from the countrymen also. Now the third one is British rule between 1765 to 1836. So India at this point was steeped into religious orthodoxies and superstition. In that particular time, what happened? The people who is going outside from India to US and UK, like somebody is going to India to UK, he or she has to cross the seas. So that is the general belief of the countrymen, especially the Hindu community, that if somebody is going to the other country like UK, if he or she is going and crossing the seas, he or she will lose his religion. He won't be a Hindu. If he will come back, they will not treat him as Hindu, because that is the orthodox people religious practices or superstition made by the countrymen. They are thinking that if somebody is going outside of the country, is crossing the seas, he will lose the religion. So that was the superstition. Now practices like untouchability, people from lower caste, they are not very welcome in the society. Especially from the upper caste people, they used to oppress these people. They are not allowed to enter in the temples. They are not allowed to take the water from the well. Okay, they are not allowed to study in the good schools. What happened then? Next is like somebody is taking the water from the well. They will be tolerated. They will be tortured by these upper caste people. They are not allowed to take the water. They are not allowed to take the food. Also, they are not allowed to educate themselves. Also, that is the condition of the people of the lower caste. The upper caste is suppressing the lower caste, and they are telling that if somebody will touch them, then something bad will happen to them. The upper caste people, that the belief they are having for the lower caste. So the social status was very, you can say, it is quite difficult for the people of lower caste to survive in that particular society. Now, child marriages and low social status. The child marriage is also there in the society. The children used to get married at the very early age, and especially, last but not the least, the women. They were being suppressed by the society. Like, they are not able to go outside of the house. They are not allowed to study in the schools. They are not have to say a thing in the social matter. So they are having a lot of restriction while they are inside the home also, and even that they are not able to go outside of the house also. So their social stature, social status is quite low. They don't have anything. They don't have any kind of rights. Britishers conned the Indians for these evil practices as well as for their dishonesty. And for these reasons, the Britishers, they used to hate the Indians for these evil practices. That is a social evil in the society that is existing. And the Britishers, what they thought about the Indian people, that they are very dishonest, means they are very dishonest people. They are not very loyal. They are not very faithful. They lost people the Indian history and strengthened their rule. They have made several laws, the Britishers, that crippled, means that severely damaged the Indian industries, the cotton industries, the weaving industries. And what they are doing, they are taking the raw material from the India and they are transporting that material to England. Why? Because they are having manufacturing hubs out there. A lot of factories were there. So they are producing the material there, and they used to bring back the manufactured item to India, and they used to sell it here also. So that is the law they used to make, and they used to severely damage that industry of the India. They just want to make profit from India. Now moving to the next slide, that is Ram Mohan Roy from 1772 to 1833. So most of you know about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, he was a great philanthropist, scholar also, educated person. He believes that Indian culture is very pristine, very ancient, and we have to respect our culture. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a learned man from Bengal who valued the Indian tradition. He is having a lot of faith in the Indian tradition, but understood that the society was need for reform. But at the same time, he is having his opinion that we have to reform, we have to change the society, because as we have read in the third sequence that a lot of social practices, social evils were existing in the society. We have to eradicate, we have to remove that social evil, and we have to reform the society. He understood that the essence of all religions was the same. He understood that the summary or essence, the gist of the religion, maybe some of you have the faith in Christianity also, Islam also, Hinduism also, but every religion have the same essence. The talking is same. Therefore, respect and tolerance is the key to a united social existence. So we have to exist with other religious people also. Allah means the faith of the people may be different, but the thing is we have to be at one. Means we don't have to fight with each other. We have to coexist in the society. He was attracted by the scientific and modern forms of knowledge, and he got attracted by the scientific temperament. He is not orthodox people. He was not a superstition. He always used to have some kind of logical thinking, scientific thinking, and that approach he wants to make in the society also. That reform he wants to make in the society. He wants to educate the people with the scientific temper, so they will eradicate this type of social practices what is happening that time in that society. Next is operation between 1765 to 1835. Operation means the suppression, how they subdued the Indian people. This phase was entirely marked by the oppressive policy of the British. Now they introduce some of the oppressive or suppressed policies for the Indians. What are the policies? Like first one is they imposed regulation 3rd. That was the law, regulation 3rd. In that particular what happened? If somebody has done something, so generally what we should do nowadays, that person has to be presented in front of the court, in front of the judge. Then the hearing is going on. Then if the person is guilty, found guilty, then he is to get punished in front of the court, in front of the law. But here what happened? If they suspect, if the suspicion is there that that person has done something wrong, he or she will send to the jail directly. They will not produce him in front of the court. That law is made for the Indians only, not for the Britishers, only for Indians. According to which Indians could be jailed without trial. No trial will be there in the court. They heavily exported the English goods to the Indian markets and made huge profits on the basis of this. And what happened? They exported lot of goods. As I told you in the beginning that they have taken the raw material from the India. They manufactured in England because they are having the industries. Manufacturing hubs are there, and once the product is finished, means once they have produced that product, manufactured that product, they used to bring it back to the India and they used to sell. So they are earning the profits from Indian people, and whatever the profits they are earning, they are sending back to the England. Heavily profit. Some of the Britishers are having their own companies also, and they are thinking that India is a country that they can loot as much as they can. Now next is sixth one, dissatisfaction from 1835 to 56. The British tried to replace the Persian and Sanskrit language with their English language. Now what they introduced, one language they have introduced, that they will remove the Sanskrit and Persian from the syllabus, from the teaching, and they will introduce the English language. Why they want to introduce the English language? Because they want to make people for the job of clerks. They need clerks. Okay, they don't want to educate all the Indians. They just need the people who can do some kind of work. That is why they want to have this English language. They don't want to continue with this Persian and Sanskrit language. They just want to remove this language and they want to continue with the English language. They taught English language to the Indians without any uniformity and created a new class of intellectuals who could work as clerks, a middleman between the Indians and the British. So what is their modus operandi? That they will introduce this language, so they will create one section, one class, and that class will think like Britishers. They will hate with their own peoples, own native peoples, because they are having the mindset of Britishers, because they are reading that English language and then thinking that they are far superior from their other countrymen, and at the same time they will get the clerk also. By 1856, the British had established their rule on nearly the whole of India. By 1856, you can see mostly the country is covered by the British rule. Mostly they have covered the part of India. Now they are ruling most part of India. Now, okay, so now number 7 is the spark between 1855 to 57. So here the discontent had risen to such a level that it was now taking the form of a rebellion. So what happened after this? The people, they got very dissatisfied, discontent with the rule of the Britishers, because now they are imposing a lot of laws which is not favorable, which is very oppressive law, you can say, that is suppressing the Indians. They don't have any kind of freedom, they don't have any kind of right. So ultimately what happens? The people, they want to rebel. They want to do something against the Britishers to get back all those things what they are having. Before the Britishers, they have come here India. Taxes rule the prisons and the new land rules have made the Santhal in Bengal desperate. What happened? This Britishers, they imposed a lot of taxes on the peasants, on the farmers. So ultimately what happened? The farmers they are not able to pay the taxes because taxes were very heavy. The farmers they are unable to pay. So they are taking their lands, and the farmers they are lost their rights on their lands also. They don't have the rights on their own land because they are not able to pay the taxes that have been imposed by the Britishers. So Britishers they are taking away their land. So that is also one cause that led to the rebel. Second thing, the Santhal also now they revolted against the Britishers, Santhal of Bengal, because they became so hopeless, so desperate. Now they are thinking that they have to do something against the Britishers. If the things will go like this, they are not able to get back the things. So something they have to do against the Britishers. They massacred European and their supporters. Now these Santhal people, now they are killing the European peoples. Okay, now they are killing the European peoples and their supporters also. They found out the grease used on the bullets was made from the cows and pig fats of cows and pigs, which was a blasphemy from most Indians. Now what happened? One of the very recent cause of the revolt is that most of the Indian people they were in the British army also that time. So when they are putting the bullet, they want to insert the bullet. Okay, they want to insert the bullet. They have to cut the bullet with their teeth. Then they can insert the bullet in the gun. So that was the time the people they were saying that the bullet was made, the grease was made with the cow and pig fat. So as you know that the Hindu people they are not having that type of food culture. They are not eating this cow and pig. So that is again their religion. Blasphemy means again their religion. They don't accept this thing, but the Britishers they are imposing. So now they are making the revolt also. Even in the British army, the Indian people who are there in the British army, they also stand against the Britishers because of this thing. Because they are thinking that if they are doing these type of things, they are not following their religion and it is totally against their religion. Now next thing is revolt. That is 1857. Finally what happened? The revolt began and it get wider and wider. Now the people, most of the people they are also getting to this revolt. They also want to participate into the revolt and it is spreading. This is spreading all over India. The sepoys marched to Delhi. The sepoys, the people or you can say the Indians who are serving the British army, now they are also against the Britishers. They are marching to Delhi because they also want to do the revolt against the Britishers. The landlords also offered their support. Even the landlords, they are giving the support to the sepoys. All alike sung praises of Bahadur Shah, their emperor, and shouted slogans like that to the foreigners. Now so they were so desperate that now they have to do anything. Now it is like do or die situation, and they are chanting the slogan "Death to the foreigner." And the Bahadur Shah therefore was the prime leader of this revolt. The War of Independence was initiated, and this way the war of the first War of Independence, the revolt of 1857, was started. People rose in rebellion in Bareilly, Kanpur, Allahabad. These three places are from Uttar Pradesh. Here also people they stand against the Britishers and they started the revolt. That is the agitation amongst the Indian public, Indian people. Now the last part, 91, the fight for freedom, 1857. Many former rulers like Begum Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow, popular leaders like Maulvi Ahmadullah of Faizabad. So these are the leaders. As I said you in the beginning of the chapter that some of the names you will not be very familiar. This is the first time you will be able to hear this type of name. But these persons are also the freedom fighters, prominent leaders of 1857. We should also know about them. They also sacrificed their life. They laid their lives for their country. So many former like who? Begum Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow. She also freedom fighters, we also participated in that revolt. Popular leaders like Muhammad Ahmadullah of Faizabad is also a place in Uttar Pradesh, and others joined the upsurge against the foreigners. Foreigner means whom? The Britishers. Azimullah Khan told Tata Tope that Peshwa Nana Sahib should be chosen as the leader in the war of independence. Some of them they suggested that Peshwa Nana Sahib should lead this revolt. Okay. Kuwar Singh and various other patriots found stand fought against the foreigners all over North India. Kuwar Singh of Bihar also, he was the prominent face of 1857. He also sacrificed his life for the motherland, for his motherland, and he gave his last blood for the motherland. So these are some of the freedom fighters like Muhammad Ahmadullah is there, okay, Begum Hasan Mahal is there, Khan Bahadur Khan, Tatya Tope, Nana Sahib, Lakshmi Bai, Mangal Pandey, lot of leaders from 1857. They have laid their life. They made the ultimate sacrifice or supreme sacrifice for their country. Now, here you can see some of the prominent freedom fighters of our country are here. I think you can recognize most of them. Here it is, Bhagat Singh is there, this Gandhiji is there, here Subhash Chandra Bose is there. This person is Ram Prasad Bismil. Here in middle, we all know that this fellow, this person is Bhagat Singh is there, Rajguru and Sukhdev is there, and here Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Chandrasekhar Azad. So these are all leaders who fought for us, who brought us freedom, and now we are living in a free world, free country. We are having all kind of rights. So I hope that you will be able to understand this chapter, Glimpse of the Past. It is a summary of the chapter what I have gave you. I hope you have understand all the things. Thank you.